So Superfish are giving us another tank to set up. This is the smallest cubic pro that they do. It's the 30. I'm not actually sure what the 30 stands for. I think it's 30 centimeters cubed, which is 27 litres or 7 US gallons. Now the box shows the setup as a shrimp tank, and to be fair, I think that'll be the perfect thing for this one. Now I'm going to be setting it up over here on Matt's desk, just sort of for demonstrational purposes. This desk is probably too small for a tank that's going to take up most of the space, but it'll be a good little area to do the build in, to be honest. So let's take a look at what we've got inside. It's a full kit and it comes with everything you need. I always find it easier, to be honest, just to cut the box. Just don't get the glass. So the kit comes with a light, of course, already fitted, and then you've got a filter system in that section there. If you take the top off, like that, there's a filter cartridge that just slots in, and that's cleanable and everything as well. Now the cartridge looks like it's got a zeolite and activated carbon layer in the middle, and then sponges either side. Should work perfectly. Now obviously you get full instructions as well, but we won't be needing them. And it comes with a lid if you're interested as well. I don't use a lid, I just find that it stops you getting in and maintaining the tank because it's just one more thing to take off. But if you've got jumping fish, then you will need a lid. Right, well let's get this thing set up, ready to go. So one of the things that I found well, not recently, but one of the things I know is that Neocaridina shrimp do really well with just a sort of inert substrate. Inert means like it doesn't change the water chemistry. So like aqua soil will like buffer the pH down, bring it down a little bit. Whereas if we just put some sand in, it keeps it at like 7 or maybe slightly higher if we add some Cereus stone and stuff like that, which is absolutely perfect for the Neocaridinas. Whoa, hold on MD, what's Neocaridina? I've got to assume that some of you watching don't know what on earth I'm talking about there. So there's two kinds of, well there's more than two kinds of shrimp, but mainly in the hobby there's two kinds of shrimp. There's Caridina and Neocaridina. Neos are just like really easy to care for, to be honest. Caridina, you sort of got to get the right parameters for that specific shrimp, a lot more care. RODI, pure water, then buffered to the right. Yeah, it's a lot more complicated, a lot more skilled, doable. I mean, there's plenty of information out there for you to learn it. But if you just want to get into the hobby and get into shrimp, then the Neos are the way to go. These in here and all these tanks are Neocaridina, except for 2 of them. They're still empty, we're waiting for a delivery, but the rest of them already got Neos in. Here we go, look, in this tank we have got some cherry shrimp. So most people call cherry shrimp all of the shrimp, but these are cherries. That one's saddled. So if you look on the back there, you see that sort of golden section. That's where the female's holding her eggs. And when a male comes along, it will fertilize them, and then they'll drop to the bottom somewhere. But if I can find one that's buried, that will be better. Quite a few little babies in here at the moment. Well, I can't see any buried ones, but as I'm looking around, there's tons and tons of little sort of babies. Everywhere I'm looking, I'm seeing little red splodges, so we're breeding really well. So that is that tank, and then in these two at the end, I've got some blues and some oranges. There we go, look. Nice little group in this one. They seem to love hanging around the bigger stones, so I'm gonna make sure that I put bigger stones in the new setup as well. And then some really nice blue dreams. I think they're blue dreams in this one. Each sort of breeder tends to give them their own name, so like I just call them blues, oranges, yellows, whatever they are. So all of these tanks you can see here are using the substrate that's like, well, it's not substrate, it's like a crushed lava rock. It's mano-based black. And we really don't want a lot of it either, so I'm just going to pour it in. Reason you don't want a lot is because if you've got a thick layer, all it's going to do is harbour a load of crud. Whereas with just a small little layer like that just covers the surface, you're golden. And as a bonus, less sand means it'll cost you less as well. Now it's time to make a start on the decoration inside of the tank. Now for this one, I'm going to be using Cereus stone because I've got quite a lot of it, but also it will slightly raise the pH of the tank, which is really good for Neos. Now, my tap water is fine. It's like a neutral 7, but if we can raise it slightly, that's even better for the shrimp. And here is all my cereal stone. I need to just pick out some pieces that I want to use. I want to create something kind of weird. Right, so imagine, oh no, this isn't going to work. No, hang on. Right, imagine that's the tank. What I want to do is get stone that I can make, this looks a bit dodgy, but bear with me. Pillars like this, and like maybe one here as well, you know, and one at the background area back there. I'm going to be making naughty rocks, basically, and then I'm going to stick all of the Buce on all of these, so there's open areas to go all in between. Yeah, feel free to comment. So I've got some nice pieces here, but of course, if I try and stand that up, it's not going to stand up, is it? So what I'm going to do is use like flat pieces like this, and then sort of, you know, like that, and then I can glue in between those two pieces there with some tissue paper, toilet paper, kitchen roll, whatever you want, and cyanoacrylate glue, not the gel, the glue, and then they hold together and it goes, and then it's solid, but not yet. Okay, there we go, look. We've got our monoliths, I guess. Is that the right word? I don't know, plinths, whatever. But I do feel they're not big enough. I feel like they're all kind of similar. We need one big one, so I'm gonna do that. Hopefully it'll fit. Oh yes, I went for the pile and I found this absolutely perfect piece to go with them. Look, it's got much more height than the rest. Oh, whoops, that should work great. Good to know the glue works, because that stayed on. There we go, look at that, they're all done. This one I put on top of another rock to raise it even higher, and I can hide the sort of tie-in points very easily. I'm gonna put it in now and see how it all sits in there, and then I can start attaching all of the boosters to it as well, which I won't do the tank because it's awkward, but I just want to put it in and see how it looks first. So I'll start with the largest rocks, see how they sit, just off center I think. There we go, that is big. And then maybe another one to the side. Got a couple of smaller ones as well. One in the foreground. Nice. I did 5, but I don't think I'm gonna need all of them. Maybe if I put this one back this way a little bit. Yeah, I like that. A little bit different. It's kind of got like a canyony feel, and then loads of room on the substrate for the shrimp to just sort of crawl around. They do really like doing that. There will be pebbles around all of these as well, but I can take them out now and start sticking some Buce to it. Mental snapshot of this to put it back to. So I've recently taken delivery of a load of new Buce that we've got down here. So they'll look brilliant in the tank. We've got loads of varieties, look. Buce, Thea Green, Thala, Bablis, which is this one. I like that one. It stays quite small and compact and is quite sort of detailed. And then the green velvet just goes big and looks brilliant as well. So all of these plants are from Aquafleur. They are so nice, top quality. If I keep them in that tank down there, they'll just keep growing as well. You can already see new leaves coming off the top, which is great. But now I need to take them all out and prepare them by taking off the rock wall. I use a fork for that. So the way I attach the Buce to the rock is I just put a little bit of super glue gel on the sort of rhizome area and the root area, and then a little spray of the reactor on like the area where I want to stick it. And then you just press it in and you've just got to hold it for a few seconds and it's completely stuck. And then carry on with the rest of them. There we go, looking good. Everything all planted up. I've put it in cracks where the joins were for the rocks, but also in little natural grooves that are in the rock as well. Just think it looks like it's sort of growing out of those, hides all the rooty area. Yeah, it looks really nice. I can put them in now. Hopefully I can get them back how they were. That's not the same at all, but it still looks quite good. But I'll give it a little shuffle around and see how I can get it to what I think would be a little bit better. I don't know, it's just a little bit flat in this area. Then we've got the big one at the back. Maybe you can bring that one the opposite side. Just have a play around. There we go, little shift around. I think that looks way better. More like a sort of canyon or something like that. Now we can of course just keep it like that. Some people might want that real sort of clean look, but I do like having the rounded pebbles in there as well, and the shrimp seem to love it. So I'm gonna put some details around the base of the stones. So I've got a couple of types. I forgot that these were so big. That's probably not gonna work on the scale of all of this. So I've got these little ones here. I think they'll work perfect. Yeah, looking good. And then I've got this like cool little shrimp cave. I want to put that in there as well, like it's like a little playground for them then, isn't it? We're coming together, and also I've got these mulberry leaves. I'm gonna put 2 of these in as well. And then for the mulberry leaves, I want them to be like a design feature of the tank. So I've just glued a rock to them. Otherwise, for a while, they're just gonna sort of float around everywhere. And I'm thinking maybe a nice one down here. And then a little one down here as well. It's cute. And now all that's left is just to fill the tank up nice and slowly. There we go, looking really cool. Quite an interesting scape to this. It's quite misty and quite bubbly. We can now switch the filter on, but that'll clear everything really fast. So yeah, just a little trickle, but absolutely perfect to get that water flowing. It's gonna come down the middle section, hit this back section, sort of spread out either way. And that's the perfect amount for shrimp. You don't want tons of flow because it's gonna get battered, aren't they? There we go, it's been about an hour and it's super clear. Look at that at the top there. I just put a little bit of that filter floss and that's picked up any of the particles that were floating in the water. So believe it or not, we can now put our shrimp in. Now, some people say that you need to wait months for the tank to sort of mature. I've personally not found that to be the case at all with Neocaridina shrimp. So all the tanks you can see set up behind me, we filled them up, put the shrimp in straight away. They're already breeding. I think I've had 1 die-off out of all the shrimp in all of them. And that was a shell thingy. It didn't molt, but everything else has been perfect. Now obviously the tank is super clean, so you do need to feed the tank quite a bit when you're trying to get that population settled in and growing. We can use like algae wafers and things like that. Now I've obviously got a complete mixed bag of shrimp in here in terms of colours, and I like to mix them. Some people say you end up with like little brown ones. I don't mind, and sometimes I don't even find that's the case. Some come out really red, some come out really blue, some are more sort of clear or natural coloration. But like I say, I just like breeding any of them. So we've got the reds in this tank, and I'm going to pick out some of the bigger ones and then leave the babies so they can grow up again. And we've got lots of really nice blues, so I can afford to take a few out of there as well. And then I think for the rest will be the oranges and yellows. I'm saying for the rest, I mean, that is all of them. There we go, nice little group there. Look, don't want too many, but yeah, looking really skittly. Now, another reason I wanted to set this shrimp tank up is to split apart the populations in case you get like a random thing happen to a tank and they can all start dying off. I'll still have a few of the colours of each tank in the new one, so that way the population isn't just decimated if anything happens. Now, it's very rare that that happens, but I have had it happen before. And almost always, I can't tell you why, because it can be in tanks that have been running for a very long time, test the water and it's completely clear. Maybe something got in the tank accidentally, who knows? But yeah, it's best not to take risks and put all of your shrimp in one basket or tank. So we can now add the shrimp in, yay! The water in this tank is fully purified and everything. I keep it in my water butt, which means it's also the same temperature as the room, which is heated, so that's why there's no heater in there. That temperature is the same as all of these tanks here, so we're all good for that. Here we go then, shrimp going in. Go on, little fellas. Oh, there's one little baby one left. Well, not baby, but smaller. There we go. One of the things I love about shrimp is that they just get exploring straight away. Like, they're all over the tank. They will do that probably for about a day, and then you'll probably come back to your tank and you'll be like, where the hell has all the shrimp gone? Well, once they get sort of accustomed to the tank, they go and find their little spots that they feel safe in. I've got a feeling there will be quite a few in there eventually, but they will definitely munch on this mulberry leaf because
They ate the ones that we put into the tanks next to us in like a few days. The whole thing was gone, so they really, really do like them.
Now just a couple of things that we need to add just to make sure everything is perfect. Obviously the shrimp have got those mulberry leaves, but we want to give them another option as well. So I've got just a teeny tiny piece of an algae wafer. We can put that in, and that'll just sink down in the front there. They'll eventually come and munch on that. It looks like a tiny amount, but there's only a few shrimp in there, and the shrimp are tiny, remember. Even that's quite large, to be honest, but gives them plenty of food to start with. And now that the shrimp are in, we're going to add a little touch of beneficial bacteria as well. That beneficial is going to feed off of any waste from the shrimp and create even more beneficial bacteria for the tank, and eventually it will just get the perfect amount for the load of shrimp. The bio-load of the shrimp that's in there. Now you could of course stop there, but I think it's going to be beneficial to add some floating plants to the tank. Not just because the lighting is quite strong, but also if I take them from an established tank, they're going to have even more beneficial bacteria from them, a bit of mold and that kind of thing, and the shrimp will absolutely love that. So I've got options. Up here, look, we've got Amazon frogbit, and this one's got Amazon frogbit. I quite like the way the roots just sort of come right down into the water in those. It's a tidy look, and they don't grow too fast, so they're an option. The Tetra tank you can see here at the top, look, we've got red root floaters. I don't know if you can see them there. Well, you could definitely see them in this tank next to it. Look at this. Look at how bright they are. So I can steal some of those as well, maybe. And then this little no filter tank over here has got some of the nicest salvinia I've ever seen in, so just take a little sprig of that as well. That stuff grows quite fast, and it's infected with duckweed, but again, all kind of good for a shrimp tank, to be honest. And for those of you that don't know, the reason like floating plants are really good for shrimp tanks, or any tanks in general, to be honest, is that because they're on top of the water, they pull nitrates, ammonia, everything to grow out the water so fast. Out of the water means they are exposed to the atmosphere, which means they've got full sources of CO2 and oxygen and stuff. And yeah, that just turbocharges their growth rate compared to like plants underwater. So yeah, I recommend floating plants for every single planted tank. They just really, really help with everything, especially if you're a beginner. And they don't cost too much, and they multiply very fast. Some of those, get the duckweed off, those, and some of these. Whoa, look at those roots on it. So yeah, not too many, remember, because we've only got a small sort of surface area here. We don't want it just to be overtaken really, really fast. Another bit of frog bit, and then some red roots as well. Now the red roots might struggle at the start, to be honest. I've noticed that they do really well in established tanks that have got quite a lot of nutrients in the substrate, and also a little bit of water column fertilizing as well. Also seem to do well in tanks that have lots of fish. This is all anecdotal because I'm not sure at all. Sometimes I can set up a tank and the red roots just stay green or just die off, and in other ones, they go really well. I will say anything with highlighting, they do tend to do well though. But I think the nutrients are key to them. Some people say that for them to go bright red, they need to lack, is it nitrogen or something? I'm not entirely sure, but every time I put them in a tank that's got highlights, they go really good. By highlights, I mean powerful LED lighting, of course. So what I'll do tomorrow is I'll come in and check the water. I'll do a quick water test just to make sure that any nitrates, nitrite and ammonia are still at zero. If there's any sign at all of anything rising, I'll just do a 50% water change. But to be honest, with such a small bioload, there should be no problems like that at all. So the point of this tank was to create something really, really simple that everyone else can have a go at. It's a nice entry-level tank, really affordable, and obviously the kit comes with everything you need as well. I've tried to keep it all quite open so that you can see all the shrimp, because let's face it, if you are making a designated shrimp tank, you want to be able to see what they're doing. They're really, really interesting little critters, and just watching them move around eating and eventually breeding is really satisfying. When you start to see adult females with eggs, there's nothing more exciting. And that's what got me hooked on them a long time ago now. I'd say about 3 years ago, I didn't have enough room in my house for a large fish tank, so I could only get a tiny one, and obviously the only thing that could go in that was shrimp. It's also probably a good idea to add some snails to the tank as well. I will do it in a little while when there's a bit more for them to eat. Shrimp and snails tend to go really well together. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, click all the buttons and that, and I'll see you on the next one.